Hello, everybody. It's me again. Um, Obviously, I hope you enjoyed the last stream that I did with John the White. Uh, it was a very enjoyable and educational stream. Give us a lot of coverage of how we got to the situation we're in, and gave it a little bit more of a balanced view. Not because just to show that we need to have a logical sense and thought process of this. We need to think things through, and I hope that that particular stream helped in some way or other. Now, we did allude to the speech that dictator Sunak delivered to the British people, which I missed, and we couldn't actually get it up, but I've got it up now. So I'm going to share with you as we go through it, and then have a quick chat about it. Not a huge amount, but there you go. And let's bring old Rishi up, and let's have a listen to what the so-called leader of our country has to say.
In recent weeks and months, we have seen a shocking increase in extremist disruption and criminality.
Not wrong there, has he? But how long has it took? I mean, this is come out. How long has it took? I mean, some people might say you're a couple of weeks late. A lot of us will say you're about 20 years too late. But in any case, let's carry on.
What started as protests on our streets has descended into intimidation, threats, and planned acts of violence. Jewish children fearful to wear their school uniform lest it reveal their identity. Muslim women abused in the street for the actions of a terrorist group they have no connection with.
Now, that's true. I know we have to be very careful. You should never tar everybody with the same brush. But, you know, you have to think sometimes about what's being said. But we'll carry on.
Now our democracy itself is a target.
Which is why now, right now, this is the most reason why it's important now, right now. Not for the last 20 years. No, it's definitely not for the last sort of 8 or 9 years, where we've had to put up with this through your immigration, thanks to Tony Blair opening the floodgates, to to in our face. This is what we've had to put up with for years. And we've been branded far right, racists, and God knows what else, when most people have just been desperately trying to warn you of the situation that you now find yourself in. It's amazing that now it's in your face. And even now, you can't actually say who's causing the issue. You can't say the words. You've got to this situation. In any case, let's carry on and see how Dictator Sunak carries on.
Council meetings and local events have been stormed. MPs do not feel safe in their homes. Long-standing parliamentary conventions have been upended because of safety concerns. And it is beyond alarming that last night, the Rochdale by-election returned a candidate who dismisses the horror of what happened on October the 7th.
Before we go any further, welcome Master Will Guitar, who's a local MP here who has supported me in my ventures, harassed by rather glad to say they've been arrested. Yeah, good to see online and streaming. So I was on earlier. You missed it, probably will. We had a good 2.5 hour chat with John the White and give him the whole background to this. They even filmed themselves touring the restaurant screaming at the councillor's children. They've been emboldened. They've been emboldened by weak leadership, which this is also weak leadership. Now, George Galloway being voted in Rochdale. George Galloway isn't interested in anything other than George Galloway. Let's get that right out there and let's sort of get it out. Rishi's going to say something about him in a minute, which I'm going to let him do in a minute. But the simple truth of the matter is the man is a political chancer, but he's also extremely intelligent and very clever in how he's plotting. But the thing is, the man is a Hamas supporter. To stand up and say the words, "Thanks for voting me in, this is for Gaza," just shows you the scumbag that he is. It doesn't matter, and I'll say this 1,000 times over. It doesn't matter whether the entire population of this country calls for a ceasefire in Gaza. Nothing is going to happen. Oh no, don't apologise, Will. Never apologise. I'm just reading it out because what you're saying is important, and it's a reflection of the chaos that we're living in at the moment. So, That's why the chats are here. That's why it's open. That's why people say what they say, and I'll read out when I can. You've not interrupted. You've just added to the conversation. So thank you. If the whole of this country says ceasefire in Gaza, free Palestine, nothing's going to change. That idiot who disgraced his American uniform and set himself on fire outside the Israeli embassy, American embassy, means nothing. Nothing changed, and he was even called a kafir, which is a non-believer, even after he burnt himself to death. This whole situation is being used and hijacked to do what's happening right now. George Galloway is a scumbag. He's an anti-Semitic arsehole. And as Rishi will quite rightly say in a minute, he got celebrated and congratulated by Nick Griffin. Now, a lot of people say that I'm a racist and I'm a white supremacist and this, that, and the other. You want to see what a real racist is? You're going to have a look at Nick Griffin. The stream that me and John just did shows you that there is a balanced point of view that we wish to take with this. There is a potential way to getting out. And screaming for a lot of things aren't necessarily going to get what you want. In any case, I'll let Rishi carry on, but Mr. Galloway is a traitor. Mr. Galloway is apparently, supposedly, and is an intelligent and very vociferous man with his language. But if he genuinely believes by doing what he's doing, he's going to save him when the time comes, he's going to be very sorely mistaken. In any case, carry on, Herr Dictator.
Who glorifies Hezbollah and is endorsed by Nick Griffin, the racist former leader of the BNP.
And he is a racist.
I need to speak to you all this evening because this situation has gone on long enough. And
yeah, it's gone on long enough. It's gone on for years and years and years, but now it's bothering you lot. Now it's in your face. Now it's an issue. Now it's a problem. People have been telling you about this for years. Years and years and years. Where we've had the leader of the opposition stand up and call Tommy Robinson a knuckle dragger who did nothing but try and raise awareness to the grooming gangs that are now going to be even more emboldened by the voting in of George Galloway, which, by the way, was done by a rather large amount of postal votes. In my opinion, postal votes should be banned, completely banned. I know it's for people who can't get to the polling stations. Then somebody who is trusted should be sent to those people and they fill it in there and then. Postal votes, as was with the election in America, can be used and manipulated and create issues and steal elections. Over 6,000 of his votes, which were the main majority that took him over the top, were postal. So we need to address that part of the thing as well.
The demands a response not just from government, but from all of us.
Have you noticed how it's all of our responsibilities? So I never associate you with any racists. Generally, I'm a good spotting, and trust me, you'll be amazed. Some people will openly tell me based on how they look, how I look. I don't believe any accusation. It's a word that's thrown. If anyone calls me a racist, they don't know me. They literally don't know me. They can say what they want about me. I'm not a racist. And to call that, but if you want to call me a racist, so be it. If standing up and pointing things out and lifting my head above the parapet wall, which I've done, we're not without long, hard thinking. Yeah, I've been sort of plodding along with my channel, thinking about saying things like this for a while now. I genuinely have. And because I know it's not without consequences. I know it's not without issues. I know it's not without its problems and the fact that things will be said towards me. And I'm prepared for that. And I'm ready for that. And that's what I'm doing now. And so I will lift my head. But the thing is, it's for all of us. How is it for all of us? We've been trying to tell you, you idiot. Not only you, every single Prime Minister who's been in charge since Tony Blair. We have been saying to you, this is the problem. You need to address this. This is going to cause a problem. So even now, when it's not just us, it's on you as well. Well, which us? Because we keep getting attacked for it. We've spent years getting attacked I can get called everything under the sun right now for raising issues with this. So now it's all down to us because they're not going to do anything. Any case, carry on, Mr. Sunak.
Britain is a patriotic, liberal, democratic society with a proud past and a bright future.
Yeah, we are we are that, all those things. So why suppress it? Why call anyone who happens to stand up for things evil? Portrayed as non-patriotic. It's amazing. The other thing about this speech, which I think is quite amazing, is he's saying all these things, yet he sacked the woman who said all these things months ago. Months ago. This is a prime minister who's lost control of the country. This is a prime minister who's never been in control of the country whatsoever. And welcome, Classics 80s fanboy. Thanks for joining me on the second stream, sir. He hasn't lost the control of the country, but what he's done is, this is a guy, as I said, and me and John have agreed, that this guy would be really good running of the distribution centre in Amazon, not the country. This is panic. But the thing is, why sack those people who have been saying this? You got rid of Lee Anderson, you got rid of Sorella Baverman, have all been telling you that this is a problem. Now you're agreeing with them, so why did you sack them in the first place?
We're a reasonable country and a decent people.
Yes, we are reasonable. Anecdote, I fell asleep, and as I woke up, I heard him giving a speech, and before I looked on the screen, I thought it was Tony Blair speaking. Yeah, Mr. Blair who opened the doors, as we covered in the previous stream, purposely to wind up the right. Yeah, we are a welcoming country and we are a tolerant country, but we've been pushed too far. And as I said in the speech, we don't want to go down this route. We don't want to be forced down to a potential civil war, because I've seen it firsthand. Kemi is still around, isn't she? Yeah, she's still around, but she's not as vocal as she used to be, sadly. But I've seen it firsthand what happens when things get down to the nasty end of the stick. And I don't want any of you to see it. I don't want you to experience it. But I do feel that we're getting railroaded down this way.
Our story is one of progress, of great achievements and enduring values. Immigrants who have come here have integrated and contributed. They have helped write the latest chapter in our island story.
And in reality, what he said to those people we allowed in because we needed them and they were useful and their skills were useful is correct. They have helped. But the simple truth of the matter is, it was unregulated. And now you've opened the doors. Yes, Bad Wolf, welcome. UK is too tolerant. It will be the country's downfall. The country's downfall is actually not necessarily down to our tolerance, because there are many, many wonderful people of different religions who are awesome people and really, really nice and get wrapped up all in all this and get stuck in the middle, to be fair. But the thing is, it's not our tolerance. It's our leadership. And the fact that our leadership has been doing this on purpose for years. That's where our biggest problem is. People like Mr. Sunak here.
They have done this without being required to give up their identity. You can be a practicing Hindu and a proud Briton as I am, or a devout Muslim and a patriotic citizen as so many are, or a committed Jewish person and the heart of your local community, and all underpinned by the tolerance of our established Christian church. We are a country where we love our neighbours and we are building Britain together.
But we're not. We're not building Britain together. Britain is segregated. Britain is terrible. Well, before how long? I've never experienced a country so shattered into millions of pieces. As me and John were talking about, when your fourth generation immigrant still sees their original motherland or fatherland as the place to be, then we've got a problem. And that's the problem that's not being addressed, and it won't be addressed.
But I fear that our great achievement in building the world's most successful multi-ethnic, multi-faith democracy is being deliberately undermined.
It's not just been, this is true, yeah. It's not being undermined. It never worked. The big experiment has failed. There's nothing wrong with having people here who want to be here and that's absolutely fine. And again, of course, a racist that I am, I don't care where you come from, and as long as we, we all stick together and go for the same things. Alex Jones warned about Western industrialisation years ago. Later, he's right. The UK military is more than a ragtag militia. It's not even that. Wait, I grew up in South Africa, so I really have the best of both worlds. Well, yes, South Africa indeed. Go on then, Rishi, let's carry on.
There are forces here at home trying to tear us apart.
Yeah, the ones you imported, the ones you ignored the warnings about, the ones that you have turned a blind eye to, the ones that even now, I'm English, nice plastic African, even now, still won't name them, still won't utter the words. So, yes, they've been here forever. Born in Essex, boss. Oh, Essex boy. Nice to have you on board, mate. Nice to have you on board.
Since October the 7th, there have been those trying to take advantage of the very human angst that we all feel about the terrible suffering that war brings to the innocent, to women and children, to advance a divisive hate.
War always. Oh, hello, Roman of the Empire. Welcome. Ahoy. And you grew up in the USA. Nice. He never even wrote the words he's reading. Of course he is. He can't think of shit like this. The whole of his leadership has been, when he was installed without a vote, he's just doing as somebody else is telling him to do. He really is. But the thing is, this is, as I said, this has been hijacked and used as an excuse. And how many more of the excuses are going to be used?
Hateful ideological agenda. On too many occasions recently, our streets have been hijacked by small groups who are hostile to our values and have no respect for our democratic traditions.
And weekend after weekend after weekend after weekend, we've been saying, please don't do this. You need to stop this. Don't do this. This needs to be stamped on. This needs to be stopped. And every weekend, they're there. And it's not a small group. It's a small group leading a bigger group of sheep with no brains and nothing else. Yeah, Rishi is very robotic in his mannerisms. Absolutely right, because he's reading this. He's no idea. He's no real belief in this.
Membership of our society is contingent on some simple things: that you abide by the rule of law, and that change can only come through the peaceful democratic process.
Which is right, except you're ignoring that. Classic 80s fanboy, you are correct. All we ask for is people to obey the law of the land and respect it, which we all know a large section do not. And remember, society itself is in a mess. The whole of it is in a mess. The whole of Western society is in a mess. Yeah, it's a complete screw up. But this isn't going to help. And Rishi's in for a very rude shock, because I don't actually think, as me and John mentioned, that he's actually thought through how much of a backbone he's really going to need to do the things.
Acts of violence and intimidation are alien to our way of doing things. They must be resisted at all times.
Yeah, and every time we've resisted, young sir, we've been arrested. We've been called everything under the sun. Every time we have resisted or tried to resist. Big words for small minds, the goggle boxers. Absolutely right, mate. But the thing is, people have been doing this. We've been warning. We've been warning and warning and warning, and we're just evil. We're just the people who shouldn't be speaking. We're silenced. Amazing, isn't it? All these years we've been saying stuff.
Nearly everyone in Britain supports these basic values, but there are small and vocal hostile groups who do not.
So if you know they are, get rid of them. Just the small hostile groups. And that's both left and right, remember? Because I don't want the ultimate right either to get away with it.
Islamist extremists and the far right feed off and embolden each other.
Well, at least he actually said the words. Yeah, and the feed right does. Yeah, the streets have been hijacked. 100% hijacked.
They are equally desperate to pretend that their violence is somehow justified, when actually these groups are two sides of the same extremist coin.
He's right there. Galloway could be a plant to stir up false opposition. No, Galloway is a nasty, anti-Semitic, racist hater who's just used the opportunity to get himself into power by pretending that he's this, that, and the other. Well, when you have children in the show, others were just playing it. Yeah, absolutely right. But no, Galloway isn't a plant. Galloway saw an opportunity to make himself famous, and he's just using it for him. The only person in the world that George Galloway is interested in is George Galloway. He doesn't give a flying shit about the people who live there. He's used them. He's used what he can do to get into power. And I guarantee you, you'll hear fuck all from him now. The guy's just a disgraceful traitor.
Neither group, except that change in our country can only come through the peaceful democratic process. Both loathe the pluralist modern country we are. Both want to set Britain against Britain, to weaponize the evils of anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim hatred for their own ends. The faith of Islam, peacefully practiced by millions of our fellow citizens, is emphatically not the same thing as the extremist political ideology of Islamism, which aims to separate Muslims from the rest of society.
So stop linking the word Islamophobia with anti-Muslim. Maybe.
Islamist extremists and far-right groups are spreading a poison. That poison is extremism. It aims to drain us of our confidence in ourselves as a people and in our shared future. They want us to doubt ourselves, to doubt each other, to doubt our country's history and achievements. They want us to accept.
Hold on, before we go any further, that's what our education system is removing. Absolutely removing. Hello, Sheila's dot. Again, nice to see you again, mate. Just a quick one. I just thought I'd do this one. It is going to be quick. It's not going to be a 2.5 hour marathon like the last one, I promise. It really isn't.
A moral equivalence between Britain and some of the most despicable regimes in the world. They want us to believe that our country and the West more generally is solely responsible for the world's ills, and that we, along with our allies.
Yeah. Islam is as far right as you can get as well. But the thing is, he's going on all about this, about the history, but this is what the schools aren't teaching anymore. They're telling our children that we're evil, that we must, the things that we did around the world. And let's be honest, there's no country in the world who hasn't got blood on its hands for one reason, or another. So our education system is another thing that needs to be tackled, Mr. Sunak. Are you going to do that?
Allies are the problem. In short, they want to destroy our confidence and hope.
Just to answer your question, Classic Anxies fanboys, why are the peaceful Muslims that aren't speaking out? Me and John touched on this. They're stuck in the middle. They are stuck in the middle. If you want to show that you want this country to survive and you want to be here, if you know an extremist, then speak out. It's the very concept of Islam that causes the problem and forces people to not want to make that decision. It is difficult because, remember, Sadiq Khan calls anyone who speaks out against Islam, who is a Muslim, an Uncle Tom. And they will get ostracized by their own community, and to them, community is everything. So, it is difficult. It really is difficult. And I appreciate and understand that difficulty.
We must not allow that to happen. When these groups claim that Britain is and has been on the wrong side of history, we should reject it and reject it again.
So get the schools to do that then. You've been too soft on this. You've been too soft on this. We've been too soft on this. And now you're going, we've got to deal with it. Well, you've got a whole education system to reorganize as well, because that's what they've been telling our children. History's been not spoken about in the correct way.
No country is perfect.
Correct.
But I am enormously proud of the good that our country has done.
Remembering, just a quick one though, it was actually the United Kingdom, Great Britain, who were the first country to actually actively try and end slavery. But of course, that gets forgotten because that doesn't get taught either.
Our place in history is defined by the sacrifices our people have made in the service of their own freedom and that of others.
Yeah, and then when these people who defend this come out of the services, they end up homeless on the streets while people who float around a boat get a 5-star hotel. How about addressing that one as well, mate? How about addressing that? But then again, so are we getting arrested for speaking out. Exactly, mate. Exactly, mate. And the abuse you get is quite impressive, trust me. You're
And when
feeling
these
it.
groups tell our children that they cannot and will not succeed because of who they are, when they tell children that the system is rigged against them or that Britain is a racist country, this is not only a lie, but a cynical attempt to crush young dreams and turn impressionistic minds against their own society.
Yes. So deal with the schools as well. Plastic African, the Western Foundation is not a black or white thing. It's an enterprise brought over many things. One, to break from the Catholic. It's like, exactly right. Look, I don't see colour. I don't actually see any colour in anyone. All I see is another human being. I really am. My motto is, as always has been, I don't care what your religion is, what colour skin you are, what you believe in, what sexual orientation you are. I judge you on whether or not you're being a twat. And if you're threatening the livelihood of my family and my country and destroying it because you want it destroyed, that makes you a massive twat in my book, and that's what I'm against.
I stand here as our country's first non-white prime minister, leading the most diverse government in our country's.
Yeah, sack the 2 people who are actually saying what you're saying now. Yeah, okay, keep reading it, mate. Yeah, and you know, you might actually sell this.
History to tell people of all races, all faiths, and all backgrounds. It is not the color of your skin, the God you believe in, or where you were born that will determine your success, but just your own hard work and endeavor. And we must be prepared to stand up for our shared values in all circumstances, no matter how difficult. And I respect that the police have a tough job in policing the protests we have seen.
The police are massively underfunded and massively undermanned and outgunned. To understand this, you must have better others to carry on their own cross. Yeah, absolutely right. But our police force can't do it. They're undermanned, haven't got the people. We haven't got the manpower to deal with this because of successive governments reducing the number of police officers, or those that are there are busy running around chasing hate crimes online. Yeah.
And that they are operationally independent. But we must draw a line.
Well, both you and me, classic 80s fanboy, have seen it for real that everybody bleeds the same. There is in reality only one race, the human race. It's as simple as that. It is literally as simple as that. Yeah, too right. Like he doesn't it? Yeah, exactly.
Yes, you can march and protest with passion. You can demand the protection of civilian life. But no, you cannot call for violent jihad. There is no context in which it can be acceptable to beam anti-Semitic tropes onto Big Ben in the
You know, with that laser projector that the police knew where it was, saw it, and walked away and left it. Yeah.
middle of a vote on Israel-Gaza. And there can be no cause.
Just out of curiosity, a vote on Israel and Gaza, and as much as everybody seems to think it's nothing to do with us, absolutely nothing to do with us. And no matter where we vote, they're not going to fucking listen in any case. So, you know, skin color should never matter. It's what comes in your mind that matters. You know what the best thing is, just to drift off on that one, is the fact that we were on the cusp of really genuinely having a chance of fulfilling Martin Luther King's dream. And then this all come in. Well, no, we are different. You don't get an Olympic African swimmer. Yeah, but that's just genetics. That's individual people. The world's gone crap since the fall of the British Empire. Yeah, the British Empire was awesome. 26% of the world was ours. And yes, we did do wonderful things, but we were also bastards at the same time. And we have to own that and we have to accept that. Yeah, we were. Yes, we did. We did wonders for many, many countries. But the simple truth of the matter is, we were also bastards. So we have to accept that. We have to own that bit because that is the truth. Any case, let's get this speech done.
That you can use to justify the support of a prescribed terrorist group like Hamas. And yes, you can freely criticize the actions of this government, or indeed any government. That is a fundamental democratic right. But no, you cannot use that as an excuse to call for the eradication of a state or any kind of hatred or anti-Semitism.
Correct. Oh, just by the way, none of this is far right. None of it. Just yeah. No, not every empire was perfect.
This week, I've met with senior police officers and made clear it is the public's expectation that they will not merely manage these protests, but police them. And I say this to the police: we will back you when you take action.
With what? What are you going to back them up? With what? Yeah? With what?
But if we are asking more of the police, we in government must also back up that call with action. To that end, this month the government will implement a new, robust framework for how it deals with this issue.
Excellent. So we're going to have another social chit chat, and by the time we've got that shit sorted out, it'll be way too late again. Yeah, well done.
To ensure that we are dealing with the root causes of this problem.
No, you never will.
And that no extremist organizations or individuals are being lent legitimacy by their actions and interactions with central government. You cannot be part of our civic life if your agenda is to tear it down. We will redouble our support for the PREVENT program to stop young minds being poisoned.
Right, PREVENT doesn't work. Okay, just it's another waste of money. PREVENT doesn't work. For everyone, it stops 20 get through the net.
Poisoned by extremism. We will demand that universities stop extremist activity on campus.
They're not going to do that. Just because to do that, you've got to get rid of the lecturers. Because the lecturers are half the problem. We're not going to tackle that, though, are we?
We will also act to prevent people entering this country whose aim is to undermine its values.
How the fuck are you going to do that when you can't stop them coming across? You don't know who they are because they're lobbing their passports in the channel. How are you going to do that, mate? You've been saying you're going to do this for months. Guess what? Still coming.
The Home Secretary has instructed that if those here on visas choose to spew hate or protest or seek to intimidate people, we will remove their right to be here.
And then they'll go through the courts, and while they're hanging on, they get a nice bedroom. Yeah, whatever. Take the UK out of the WF, and we might have some credibility. That's never going to happen. The World Economic Forum is never going to let a country wander away from it. We all should know that by now.
And our Britain must not be a country in which we descend into polarized camps, with some communities living parallel lives.
They have been for the last 15 years. Wake up, moron. This is what we've been warning about. But no. Yep. Then we're going to also cure there's no such thing as a no-go area. It's currently, 14 minutes past midnight. There's plenty of places literally just up the road from me. There's no way even I would walk through there at the moment. Sorry I'm late. I was preparing to fight zombies on a game stream. Never apologise for standing to take the line of the zombies. Welcome, Archer Colin.
It is not enough to live side by side. We must live together, united by shared values.
But that's never going to happen. That's the problem. Again, this is yet again what people have been saying for years. And it's amazing how they've kicked the can down the road and they've ignored this and ignored this and ignored this until it's too late, until they're now getting shouted at in their own faces. Now it's a problem.
And a shared commitment to this country. And I want to speak directly to those who choose to continue to protest. Don't let the extremists hijack your marches. You have a chance in the coming week.
Really? Every single one of them is holding placards. People like Charlotte Church are singing From the River to the Sea. So it's no good saying, "Oh, don't do it, don't this." They aren't interested. It's just something else. A lot of them are just like got nothing else better to do with their sad little lives. But in any case, you
to show that you can protest decently, peacefully, and with empathy for your fellow citizens.
but you can't do that carrying a sign saying "From the river to the sea." You can't do that carrying Hamas and ISIS terror flags, which the police have done nothing about. So I'd like to see how so you can protest, but their protest is terrible. I mean, come on. You got famous people shouting from the river to the sea. How are you going to deal with that?
Let us prove these extremists wrong and show them that even when we disagree, we will never be disunited from our common values of decency and respect.
No such thing anymore. And that's again down to education. It's down to parenting. It's down to 10,000 different things, not just walking down the bridge shouting death to the Jews, which of course they do and get ignored. This is more of this is like a quick knee-jerk reaction. There are so many things wrong with this country that need to be addressed. And this is just a sticking plaster, another can kicked down the road.
I love this country. My family and I owe it so much. The time has now come for us all to stand together.
We've been standing together for years, mate, and you've just attacked us and demonized us and dehumanized us and called us everything under the sun because we've been warning about this. And now you want us to stand together. Really? What, behind you? Jesus.
To combat the forces of division and beat this poison. We must face down the extremists who would tear us apart. There must be leadership.
Yeah, we must face down those who would tear us apart, which is why you arrest the guys carrying a Union flag, which is why you arrest the guys carrying an Israeli flag, which you arrest the guys saying with a sign saying, "Is Hamas a terrorist organization? Yes or yes." You will arrest anyone other than the people causing the problem. So how are you going to tackle that? Are you actually going to do something? Are the police going to do something? And how many of those members of the police force are actually thinking, actually, I support what they're saying? And don't get me wrong, I know the issues the police have, and I know they're outnumbered, and I know they're going to get abused, and it's going to get really, really bad. It's going to get dark for them. But I have serious lack of faith in the police force to do anything properly anymore. And thousands, if not millions of us feel exactly the same way.
Not pandering or appeasement.
Yeah, but you've pandered and appeased to everybody and everything. So either, instead of standing in a box, come out with something. Actually come out with, this is what I'm going to do. But of course, you're not going to, as you've already said, have a bit of a social chit-chat in the Houses of Parliament and nothing will get done.
When they tell their lies, we will tell the truth. When they try
That's a bit rich coming from the government. You're going to tell the truth. Really? Genuinely? Okay. That'll be refreshing.
and sap our confidence, we will redouble our efforts. And when they try and make us doubt each other, we will dig deeper for that extra ounce of compassion and empathy that they want us to believe doesn't exist.
And how many times are you going to do that, son? How many times are you going to accept it? How many times, if you're a Christian, are you going to turn that cheek? How many times are you going to accept it? Because I'm sorry, and it just proves again how out of touch you really are, mate. We've had enough. We're not turning a cheek, and that's the problem. You've left it so long to address this issue, so long to do something about it, that it's too late now. The vast majority of people have had enough, and that's something else you're going to have to deal with because you're not prepared to listen to us anymore.
But that I know does. If we do that, we can build on our great achievement in creating today's Britain, a country of kind, decent, tolerant people.
Which is the biggest mistake we ever had.
We can make this a country in which we all feel a renewed sense of pride.
There was pride. This country was great. When we had immigration, when it was controlled, when we understood what was coming in, when we paid attention, when people had to were actually bothered to integrate, when people weren't the doors weren't open to import the problem, and quite clearly was told that it was there to annoy the right.
This is our home. So let us go forward together, confident in our values and confident in our future.
Right, stop that there. Oh, we don't listen to it again. A weak prepared speech from a weak leader. Nothing's going to change. He can go and tell the police to do this and to do that. Are the police going to listen to him? No. Do we have the manpower to do it with the police? No. And what do you want to do? Force it to where we have to bring the army onto the streets? Two things there. One, army, and the other one is you really don't want to get soldiers on the street because it'll get real messy real quick. It's a bit late for him to start saying this. As I said, it's too little, too late. And to go and say, "Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that," this can't happen. You can't have extremists anymore. No, we've got to stop it. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit down in the House of Commons and spend about 7 or 8 months discussing it until we get another election, and we'll just, we'll pretend we're doing something. They're not going to do anything. They've, siphoned off another 31 million quid to make sure that they're safe. And leave us to do what we've done. Nothing's going to change. This isn't going to change jack all. Nothing is going to change. And that's what's the worrying thing. Because you do get the distinct impression that we're being pushed towards something that really, if you put your hand on your heart, none of us want. None of us, well, let's rephrase that. The two extremes, which are, as he quite rightly said, the two sides of the same coin, they're loving it. The simple truth of the matter is, we don't want a civil war. And if he doesn't actually do something, Parliament will collapse, and then society will collapse. And then where are we going to be? So in any case, I'm going to bring this second stream of the day to a close. It's almost coming up to 45 minutes. Thank you so much for watching. I thought I needed to get a video of that out now, so everybody sort of, because this was just breaking as me and John were about to start the stream that was before this. So I needed to get this out. I needed to listen to it in full and sort of give my opinion. This isn't going to change anything. We don't have strong leadership. We don't have any sort of control from the top. We're being pushed into a situation that's only going to end one way. I've seen it for real. I don't want to see it again. And I don't want you lot to see it again. But we're not being given any choice. So with that, I'm going to bring it to a close. Thank you so much for all of you who watched. Thank you so much for everybody in the chat. Bad Wolf, Colin Archer, Plastic African, Sheila's Dot, and everybody else who was in. Time Prophet and all that. Was Time Prophet in? Probably not. He was having his dinner, wasn't he? Classic 80s fanboy. I'm just going back through the chat. Mr. Will Guitar. Thank you, all of you, for being in the chat. Oh, a Roman of the Empire. Thank you. Welcome. Well done. Thanks for all of you in the chat. Thanks for all of you who've watched. And just recently, thanks for everybody in the comment section. Thanks for everybody who's subscribed to the channel. It's much appreciated. The more we get, the more people we get to share and comment, and the more the algorithm pushes the videos out. And there's probably somebody who's watching this who thought they were on their own. You're not on your own. Are there going to be solutions to these problems? I'm actually working on potentially some of the things that could be done to solve the problem. But it's going to be difficult. It is going to get a hell of a lot darker before it gets light. It's going to get awkward. Things are going to get dangerous. It's going to get quite bad one way or another. As I said, we've also said that don't worry, this is just one of the other things that we need to worry about. You've got the Russian situation, thanks to the Germans selling us down the river. We've got a lot to think about. We've got to stay level-headed. We've got to stay calm. We've got to stand for each other, stand next to each other. Yeah, and that's the most important thing. The only way we're going to get through this is by standing together and to just stand up and say, "Look, enough's enough." He wants us to stand together. Well, then we will. But the problem is the inequality in the two-tier policing system, which apparently is no longer going to happen. What he said. We'll wait and see, because there will be a march very soon, no doubt, and we will see how it goes. It's not going to go well, and my worry is someone's going to use this current turmoil to do something very, very bad, and really like the touch paper, and then it will be a really dark day. Thanks for watching. I shall catch you later. So, until the next one, you all look safe. You have each other. Look out for each other, and I'll catch you soon. Good night.